G'day, and I'm here with the team from Espresso Company Australia. We're going to take you through the VBM Domobar Super 2B Digital today. I've had a really good chance to play with the machine and learn what it has to offer, so let's get into it. First, let me introduce you to the machine. The look and the feel of this machine is really nice. All the parts are ergonomically pleasing and quite comfortable. Now, the Domobar range has these removable sides that you can use for customization. They're also really easy to take off and put back on if you want to clean the machine. If you want to be super pro, and I mean, let's face it, you've just bought this dual boiler coffee machine and you want to show it off to your friends, you can actually plumb it in. But if you can't do that at home, you can also use the inbuilt tank, and it has an automatic cutoff, and the screen will also let you know when the tank is empty. If you're like me and you wander straight out of bed to the espresso machine in the morning, you can program the machine to switch on and off automatically. Now you can do this through one of the 2B's main features, and that is the LCD touchscreen. Now, this is where you can manipulate all of the settings in the coffee machine. The simple ones like the on and off, or the temperature. You can also manipulate the pressure profiling, and that's what we're here really to speak about today. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on the simple use of this coffee machine. Just like any espresso machine, you can make the grind finer to slow the extraction down or coarser to speed it up. But this isn't just your standard coffee machine. This coffee machine has superpowers, and that's what I'm here for today. That's what I'm going to take you through. Now, if you've stumbled across this video and you're wondering what pressure profiling is, let me explain it to you. Now, a standard coffee machine will brew coffee with a manual pump, which will be regulated at a certain amount of bar, and we call it 6 bar, up to 9 bar, even more sometimes. But this isn't a standard machine. This has a variable pump, so you can take it from 3 bar to 4 bar to 6 bar to 9 bar, back to 4 bar, whatever you want. Now, doesn't this complicate things? Yeah, sure, it does. But the desire to complicate things comes from some really old school mentality in espresso. Now, back in the day, before we had electronics controlling pumps, we had machines that had a piston. Now, the piston allowed you to fill a chamber with water first, which would then gently travel through the coffee. And when you let go of the piston, the spring would actually push water down through the coffee and create a really nice, even extraction, and it would taper off towards the end. Now, of course, it can make it really hard to maintain consistency, but on the 2B, you've got the ability to set profiles through the screen so that you can maintain consistency, find an extraction you really like, and do it again and again and again. Now, I would say, without a little bit of knowledge, don't even bother. You can use this machine just like any standard machine at 6 bar or 9 bar of pressure, whatever you like. But if you stick around in this video and you want to learn a little bit more about pressure profiling, you can get right into it. But if you want to fast forward to the end to my latest hot tip of how to brew that coffee, feel free. Now, when I use a pressure profiling machine, I normally stick to 3 or 4 stages. This machine has up to 7 different set points, so you can go as far as you want. That means you've got 7 points that you can improve the coffee, but also 7 points that you could maybe make the coffee taste bad. But let's get into how to best manipulate that coffee. Now, when I'm doing it, I've got 3 stages. You've got pre-infusion, the extraction, and the post-infusion. Now, with stage 1, the pre-infusion, what I normally do is use 3 bar, and I will start around 7 seconds. This allows the water to travel through the coffee gently to pre-wet the coffee. Now, if you go too fast sometimes, what can happen is a channel can occur, and that's when the water passes around the coffee and creates wormholes and channels through the coffee and doesn't necessarily extract the coffee. In this stage, we're allowing it to pre-wet the coffee as much as possible. So what you do, you go into the machine, into the settings, you select pressure profiling, and you select the profile that you want to work in. In this case, pressure profile 1. You set that first stage to 3 bar and 7 seconds. Now, With the stage 1 of pressure profiling, you can manipulate the body. So if you're tasting your coffee and you feel that there's not enough body, increase the amount of time that the pre-infusion is wetting the coffee first. So if you've got not as much body as you want, increase that time of the pre-infusion to maybe 8, 9, or 10 seconds. But if you feel you want a cleaner, thinner body, then you can decrease that time to 6 or 5 seconds. Now, stage 2 is the main infusion of the coffee, and this is where you're going to get the bulk of the flavor. Now, I usually set this at 6 bar, but you can go to 8 bar, 9 bar. The machine will allow you to go up to 14 bar. Now, the reason I use 6 bar is because it's still gentle enough to extract the coffee without pushing too hard and extracting some of the volatiles that you may not like in the coffee. And it's giving the water a chance to extract the coffee nice and gently. If you want a little bit more extraction, you can actually slow that to 5 bar and have the water spend a little bit more time with the coffee. Or if you want less extraction, you can increase that bar pressure to 7 or 8. And it's going to minimize the time that the water spends with the coffee, but potentially, as you get into it, push more of those dry, astringent parts of the coffee. Now, how long you spend in stage 2 will ultimately depend how you want that coffee to finish. So this is where we can kind of work into stage 3, and that is the post-infusion. So you've got your pre-infusion at 3 bar, your infusion at 6 bar, and then you go back to a post-infusion of 3 bar, and that's slowing the water through that extraction. Now, we do this to clean up the coffee at the end. So if you taste your coffee and you feel like it is a little bit muddy, a little bit over extracted, maybe a little bit dry, decrease stage 2. At the moment we've got it at 20 seconds, but decrease it to maybe 15 seconds. And this will allow that lower bar pressure to push through the coffee without extracting too much of those heavier contents of the coffee. And it will clean your espresso up. But if you want a fuller, more robust espresso at the end, decrease the amount of time at the end and increase stage 2. So take it up to 25 seconds and decrease the amount that you're extracting at the end. Now, we're working with a recipe of 20 grams in to 48 grams out. My goal here is to extract the last 8 grams at that lower pressure setting of 3 bar. Now, the extraction itself will go for around about 35 to 40 seconds, which in the old school world sounds a little bit long, but when you're working with pressure profiling, you've got the chance to kind of really manipulate that espresso exactly the way you want. Now, to finalize the profile, if you're only using 3 of the 7 stages, make the 3rd stage as long as you can to make it 45 seconds. Then tick, take the next stage down to 0 bar pressure and the next one after that, and tick through until you've manipulated that pressure profile the way you want it. Now you can save that profile, hit the home button and go back to the main screen. And now we get to try the best bit, and that's actually tasting the coffee. So let's extract this coffee. Now, you're back in the home screen and you're ready to brew. The moment you pull up the lever, you're going to see the screen pop up and actually show you what's going on. So the yellow bars that come across is actually graphing that pressure profiling. So you'll see it sit at 3 bar. Then after 7 seconds, you'll see those yellow bars go up to 6 bar. After that 15 seconds or 20 seconds has passed, then it'll go back to 3 bar or whatever you've set it at. But you can also set when this machine is going to warn you that the extraction has gone too long, and that is in the count up feature on the machine. We've got this set at 35 seconds. At that point, the graph will start to turn green, and at a certain point, it will start to turn red. And you know you're actually starting to go a little bit too long. And at a certain point in time, it'll go black, and then you need to wonder what you've done in life and why you've actually even gotten to that stage. So you'll actually see your extraction in full color on the screen, and this is a really good feature. So to summarize, in stage 1, the pre-infusion, you can manipulate the body of the coffee. Shorter in stage 1 for a thinner body, longer for a fuller body. In stage 2, you're manipulating the extraction. So longer time in that for a fuller, more robust espresso, shorter for a cleaner, brighter finish. And of course, stage 3 is where you finish off your yield. So in that time, you're making sure your shot is to the length that you want it. In this case, 48 grams. Now, I've had heaps of fun playing with the VBM Domobar Super 2B Digital, and I think you will too. But if you've got any questions, you can ask the questions via the comments section below, or you can come and find me at Instagram at BaristaMan. Thank you for the opportunity to show you this machine today, and have fun brewing.